Are we witnessing the end of grocery stores, and what can we do to save them? That's the topic of today's show. Come on, but before we get into it, this video is brought to you by Real Growers Recharge. If you want stronger, healthier plants, bigger roots for bigger fruits, you got to check out Real Growers Recharge. Go on over to realgrowers.com to learn more. All right, Hi C, you ready to get into it, man?
Yeah, so I am new to growing, so I was not there in the heyday of grow stores. So help me out. Explain why grow stores used to be so popular and then why it seems like they're just dropping off of a cliff nowadays.
It has to do with online, and it has to do with prohibition. Once prohibition fell, people used to go to grow stores specifically because they didn't want to order things online, man. They didn't want to order a bag of soil or nutrients to their house because they were paranoid. So they'd borrow their friend's car and cover up the license plate and go to, I'm telling you, it was ridiculous back in the day, to go get grow supplies. And by the way, when you went into the grow store, there was people there. There were like-minded people. Hopefully they knew what they were talking about and could steer you right and give you good advice. Like I said, before the internet. Now you got things like the DGC.
I do remember back in the day, people going to the grow store or coming back from the grow store and being like, look, I got this stuff to help me grow tomato plants.
Yeah, you had to say they were tomato plants, which is such a disservice, you know?
Yeah, but you still like grow stores. You frequently go to grow stores, even though the ones around here
are closing. Closing. It is really a bummer, and I have a couple ideas or thoughts on how to keep these stores in business.
Yeah, because this is one thing that we talk about a lot as far as business goes. Online is great, but there's certain things that make brick and mortar mom and pop shops still relevant. And I don't think that the grow stores are taking some of these things into consideration.
No, the first one, if I was a grow store, the first thing I'd be fighting to be able to do is to sell clones. I mean, where do you go otherwise where you can buy plants, but you can't buy the plant growing supplies? Most places, when you go to Home Depot or wherever, they have the plant growing supplies and the plants, and they go together really good.
Okay, so my question about that would be the legal status. I remember you used to be able to go to like head shops and buy your pipes, but you couldn't buy a grow book there. They couldn't sell both in the same place.
Right.
So can they sell grow supplies and clones in the same place?
I mean, there's legal and then there's legal, you know? They cannot right now. Honestly, I think there are some grow stores that are just doing it. What do they say? It's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission.
Not legal advice.
Not legal. None of this is legal advice, man. You got problems. You're taking legal advice from me, guys.
But as the market opens up more, that might become legal. They might just say, hey, it makes sense to sell plants and plant food in the same place.
Absolutely. As the people that make these laws understand a little bit. And by the way, I don't know if you're seeing what's going on in cannabis, but the whole, golden ticket, oh my gosh, I'm in the cannabis industry, that's gone by the wayside. And you're seeing the reality of economics hit the cannabis industry. So whether it's grow stores, whether it's professional growers, so things are changing, and the people that make the laws need to understand a little bit better and be a little more business friendly to us, and they're starting to.
Okay, so number one would be, if possible, sell clones in the same place that you sell. So have the ability to buy my plants while I'm getting my supplies.
Yep.
What's the next thing that grow stores should be considering?
I think community. I mean, we don't get out enough as it is, but to go to your local grow store, I'll shout out to my buddy Mike over at Mountain Lion. That's a real community-oriented place. You go there, and I know Banner hangs out there, and they, maybe they swap clones in the parking lot or swap advice. But that sense of community, even just going there and hanging out for a half hour and seeing what people are doing. What's in your soil formula, man? What are you growing?
And the thing that I've noticed about hanging out at some of the grow stores is the information is very localized. If I go on a forum, I might be getting information from somebody who's growing in vastly different conditions than I am.
Yep, exactly right. How to buffer the clay if you're growing in ground here, when the frost is coming, or strains that you want to harvest early because we're specifically in Colorado. Yeah, stuff like that, definitely.
Or even humidity levels. The advice that I get from somebody in Florida is going to be drastically different than the advice I get at my local grow store.
Yeah, even with drying and curing, honestly.
Okay, cool. And then the last one.
The last one's expertise. You gotta be able to go to the grocery store and leave a little bit smarter than when you showed up. So the people that are running the store, again, shout out to Mountain Lion, my buddy Mike. He knows his stuff. The folks that work with him know their stuff. So when you go in there, there is a benefit to doing that other than just going and grabbing the stuff on Amazon. You get a little bit of value add.
Yeah, so common. I think of like walking into a Walmart and being like, hey, where do I find such and such? And the person that's behind the counter has no idea. Or going to the record store back when record stores were a thing. Hey, do you got the new whatever album? And the guy's like, I don't listen to that genre of music. That seems to plague brick and mortar stores. But if grocery stores could take advantage of the fact that that's not available online.
Yeah, absolutely. We were doing some research online before, and what a mess. I mean, it's everything from yes to no to maybe. So you really have to find a trusted source of information, and I got my fingers crossed that you have a local grocery store where you've got some expertise there.
Yeah, and for me as a buyer, I want to make a confident buying decision no matter what I'm buying, especially on something kind of esoteric like growing cannabis. I want to feel like the person selling to me knows what they're talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, but what about you? What do you think the future of grocery stores is? And what do you think they can do differently to stay relevant? And if you like this video, please hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommending over here.